Boris Johnson's decisive election victory has transformed the UK's political landscape, giving the Prime Minister and his ruling Conservative Party clear breathing room to begin the next phase of their Brexit agenda. To discuss what this means for the British economy, I'm joined by Daniel Vernazza, the Chief International Economist at UniCredit. Daniel, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, following the election outcome, we saw the pound surge and UK stocks rise. To what extent has this outcome lifted the cloud of uncertainty that has hung around the UK economy?
Well, the sort of disappointing answer is that we'll have to wait and see. Clearly, there has been a reduction in uncertainty. I think initially with Boris Johnson securing a new deal on Brexit, that did reduce the probability of a no-deal outcome, which is what firms were most worried about. We think after that deal, of course, now we'll enter a standstill transition period to the end of 2020. So there won't be a no-deal scenario until at least the end of 2020 now. We also have a reduction in political uncertainty. Of course, Boris Johnson's Conservative Party has secured a large mandate now, and so the sort of uncertainty that could have been created from a hung parliament situation has now gone away. We'll have to wait and see how firms react to this. There could be a difference between sort of perceived certainty and the reality. Of course, Brexit is not done at all. This is just stage one to secure a deal on the separation issues. We still have the future relationship talks to do, and Boris Johnson's intro is very large indeed. This is also at a time when the global environment is pretty weak.
Looking ahead to next year, you mentioned these discussions taking place on the future relationship, and we've heard from senior members of the Conservative Party that this can be achieved within the year without any problems. Are these assertions realistic?
I think they're highly unrealistic. If you look at trade deals and how long it takes to sign these, then you're looking at years, not months. 11 months, it wouldn't be enough time to do this. Now, Boris Johnson has argued that the UK starts from a position of equivalence and so would be able to come to a trade deal with the EU much quicker. I think that's unlikely because the UK also wants to diverge from EU rules, and there will be a balancing act between the amount of divergence that the EU and the UK would allow whilst keeping access to markets.
And to what extent do discussions with the US on a potential free trade agreement between Washington and London play into this bigger picture with the EU?
I think it could be very important indeed. I mean, there will be a choice for the UK government as to whether to sort of align with US rules, to do a trade deal with them, or whether to align with EU rules and make a trade deal with the EU much more detailed and comprehensive. And clearly, that could lead to different sets of rules for UK firms to meet. If they want to sell to the EU market, they would have to meet EU rules. If they want to sell to the US market, they'll have to meet US rules. Whatever the UK government chooses in terms of where the UK will align to will mean whether will decide whether UK firms have to make a bigger adjustment or not. Remember, most of UK trade is with the EU, not with the US. Almost half of UK trade is with the EU. So if the UK government seeks to align with the US, then that could significantly increase barriers to trade for most UK firms exporting.
So, Daniel, there are clearly a lot of challenges lying ahead for the UK in 2020. What do you expect in terms of economic growth for the country?
We think the UK economy will grow sub 1% next year, but only slightly below 1%. We think that because Brexit uncertainties are likely to continue. We have the possibility, a real possibility of a cliff edge at the end of 2020. And already firms will start to worry about that next year. By mid-year, there is the opportunity to extend that standstill transition period for 1 or 2 years. We think the UK government won't take that opportunity then to do so. And so as we approach the end of next year, already the uncertainty will build again. Also, the world economy is slowing. we think it will continue to slow next year, and that will weigh on the UK economy as well, which is a fairly open economy. In terms of sub 1%, how does that compare to what we've seen over the last year? It's roughly the same. So it would be subdued growth. The UK economy over the last 3 quarters has grown around 0.2% Q on Q. That's well down on what we were used to pre-crisis. Before the financial crisis, the UK economy was growing around 0.6 to 0.7% Q on Q.
And in terms of Boris Johnson's sort of proposed fiscal stimulus measures, what kind of impact will they have moving forward?
Well, that could be the game changer, the fiscal stimulus. The Conservatives in their manifesto have changed the fiscal rules now. They were going to allow up to 1% additional spending on investment per year. That potentially over the next 5 years, so I should say 1% of GDP, potentially over the next 5 years, that's a sort of war chest of £100 billion to spend on investment. And that potentially could add an additional 1% to GDP growth once they get up to that level.
Okay, so it's a case of wait and see then, and we'll watch this space with interest. Daniel, thank you for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.